We are all in quarantine. Those are the words of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo today, ordering the state's entire workforce to stay home.
Plus, at capacity, New Jersey's first drive-through testing site in such high demand that it closed after just 4 hours.
And the White House has responded with new measures involving taxes, student loans, and more restrictions at the borders. Good afternoon at 4 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. I'm Stephen Holt.
And I'm Natalie Pasquarello. We're going to start this afternoon with Governor Cuomo's order to keep all non-essential workers at home. He says the entire state is on pause. This is a drastic move to try to control density in this pandemic. The governor also announced all non-essential gatherings are now banned, and you should only use mass transit if it's absolutely necessary.
We need to tell you about another wave of closures that's about to go into effect across the entire tri-state. It starts tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. All hair and nail salons, barber shops, tattoo and piercing parlors, they will be closed until further notice. Let's also bring you up to speed with the latest numbers. More than 7,800 cases confirmed in New York State, the vast majority in the city. New Jersey increased their numbers to 890 cases to date. And Connecticut, we just got an update from Governor Lamont. Those cases went up to 194. We have live team coverage at 4 o'clock. We'll get started with News 4's Andrew Siff joining us with the latest restrictions in New York. Andrew.
Yeah, Stephen, this dire warning comes at a time when the weather is great and so many people, as you can see behind me, are outside. And Governor Cuomo said it's still okay to go outside by yourself with social distancing. But what he's really aiming this message at is the tens of thousands of people who have continued to commute to work. His message is that is now time to stop.
It's worrisome.
Christian Lopez is among the hundreds of thousands of workers in New York City learning the news today. It's time to stop coming to the office.
It's something that people should take seriously. It's not anything that should be like, oh, well, you know, blow over.
This is the most drastic action we can take.
Governor Cuomo today ordering an end to non-essential business as of this weekend. Barber shops, bowling alleys, and hundreds of other businesses all closed as of Saturday night. All other non-essential work closed down by Sunday night.
These provisions will be enforced. These are not helpful hints. This is not if you really want to be a great citizen. These are legal provisions. They will be enforced. There will be a civil fine and mandatory closure.
What's still allowed? First responders and medical professionals, of course, and food service workers whose delivery is critical to keeping New York fed.
It's pretty crazy, but I guess we're trying our best.
The governor said this isn't a so-called shelter in place because that term evokes nuclear war or an active shooter. Instead, he calls it pause, even using an acronym. Policies assure uniform safety for everyone. At stake, the hospital system. Experts predict a shortage of ventilators and a surge of coronavirus cases will collide catastrophically in a matter of weeks.
The philosophy that always worked for me is prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
That makes sense for seniors like Rosemarie Nielsen, out this afternoon for her daily 20-block stroll.
I'm being very careful, and I do my walk, and that's it. And I go home.
Right. And the governor's office is promising a more exhaustive list of which jobs are considered essential and which ones are not. The governor says if you have any doubt whatsoever and you can possibly work from home, you must start doing so effective Sunday night. We're live in Long Island City tonight. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
All right, Andrew, thanks for the latest there. Right now, we're also keeping a close eye on the situation developing in New Jersey as drive-through testing started there just today. And here within the past 2 hours, the number of cases went up to 890. Sadly, we did learn about 2 more deaths. That brings the total to 11. Governor Murphy says it's no surprise.
This is not necessarily on its surface a bad thing. The more information we have, the better we will be able to respond to this crisis.
All right, here's a look at that first drive-through testing facility from drone video. As you can see, it was really busy out there. Investigative reporter Sarah Wallace continuing our live team coverage from Paramus. What a turnout, Sarah, as expected.
Well, Natalie, it really was amazing. In fact, this drive-through testing site that you see behind me was actually supposed to remain open until 4 o'clock, but it had to close hours earlier. That's because it was already at capacity, 600 people.
An overhead view as cars lined up by the hundreds to take advantage of the state's first drive-through coronavirus testing site at Bergen Community College in Paramus. Some New Jersey residents arrived in the foggy pre-dawn.
Blow it? Yep. Just like.
We spoke by phone with Marietta Williams, one of the first to get a swab.
I went to the doctor last week, so I had some breathing issues. I have asthma, so I'm just trying to make sure that everything's okay.
The test tents operated by FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, with help from the National Guard and the state police. The priority given to those New Jersey residents with acute symptoms of the virus.
Not everyone should hop in their car and come here to be tested. Individuals must be current New Jersey residents. You have to show your own identification, and you've got to be showing some symptoms of respiratory illness.
But the demand so overwhelming, by noon, officials had reached the maximum for daily processing and started turning people away. Signs set up at the entrance of the college.
And to say there was pent-up demand would be the understatement of the century. But considering all that, I don't think in our wildest dreams, guys, we thought you'd test 600 people. So.
Bergen County remains at the epicenter of the state's crisis, with more than 240 cases. There are 3 times more cases in Bergen than any other county.
We gotta slow this down. With everybody's help, we will. We all gotta be rowing together. But here in Bergen County, we're feeling the pain.
Absolutely. This site will be back open here tomorrow at 8 a.m. Again, they'll be able to process 600 people tomorrow. A second site will open at the PNC Arts Center in Homedale on Monday. That one will be able to handle 350 people a day. Live from Paramus, Sarah Wallace, News 4 New York.
All right, Sarah, thank you. The latest on the turnout there. On Long Island, where the number of cases nearly doubled today to more than 1,100 cases, we learned that 3 of the people who died in the county lived in the same senior center. News 4's Greg Sergel continues our team coverage live from Mineola this afternoon. Greg.
Well, Natalie, Long Island hospitals like NYU Winthrop behind me are obviously focused on the physical threat posed by this virus, but medical experts are also trying to raise awareness about the emotional threats, especially for seniors.
This is Alan.
Alan Menikoff suffers with a form of dementia. His wife, Sarah, is the 79-year-old's prime caregiver. For this married couple of 49 years, coronavirus has made a difficult situation even more challenging.
Every day I go to bed, I go, check off another day. It's very hard.
Hard because Alan is now homebound. Coronavirus has closed all senior centers, and he can no longer visit his daycare facility. Those trips 3 times a week meant the world to his wife.
I had complete freedom all day. It gave me my life.
This 72-year-old's normal life is yet another casualty of this virus.
We're getting a lot of calls from people that they are feeling overwhelmed and isolated and afraid.
Dr. Paula Lester is a geriatric expert at NYU Winthrop Hospital. She says the added burdens now being placed on senior caregivers could impact their health as well.
The challenge for everybody is to kind of stay safe and stay sane. And I think it's harder when you are a primary caregiver for someone with those medical needs.
The more obvious threat to seniors became all too real at this Greenport retirement community. 3 residents of Peconic Landing died this week from the virus. A 96-year-old woman, a 97-year-old woman, and a 96-year-old man. 12 others here have also tested positive. A spokesperson for the community says the detection and spread of COVID-19 on our campus has been unprecedented.
We don't know the repercussions of this for a really, really long time.
Now, experts are urging seniors not only to seek help for things like shopping from family members and friends, but they're also urging them to look for emotional support. Talk to someone, they say, and realize you're not alone in this. We're live in Mineola. Greg Sergel, News 4 New York.
We are not alone. We are all in this together. Greg, thank you very much. Sorry about some big changes out of Washington, D.C. today. The IRS now giving you more time to file your taxes. Also today, we learned about some new restrictions at the border. The president talking directly to reporters, saying he's also going to try and speed up production of supplies and equipment for hospitals. Our chief investigative reporter, Jonathan Deans, joining us from the newsroom this afternoon with today's White House briefing that, John, honestly, was pretty fiery at times.
It was, Stephen. The president president today, though, praised New York's moves to keep workers at home, and his administration says for health safety reasons, tougher border controls are going into effect at midnight tonight. But the president said there are no plans right now for any sort of national lockdown.
I don't think we'll ever find that necessary.
President Trump says no national lockdown is coming, but he cheered efforts by Governor Cuomo and California's governor to keep more people at home.
They're taking very strong, bold steps, and I applaud them.
Along the Canadian and Mexican borders, non-essential travel will now be closed to try to slow the spread. Any without documents will automatically be denied entry.
Left unchecked, this would cripple our immigration system, overwhelm our healthcare system, and severely damage our national security. We're not going to let that happen.
The doctor helping lead the coronavirus response says the border plan is a health decision.
We cannot be preventing people from coming in from one area when they can actually go into the other.
The president says he's using federal powers to try to get millions of more masks to hospitals. And he said one automaker is now offering to help build ventilators.
They called us yesterday, and we're working on a transaction. They're going to make ventilators.
Tax day will be moved from April to July. College student loan payments can be delayed without penalty. On the medical front, experts say for kids with immune deficiencies, unclear if they're at greater risk.
There just is not enough numbers at this time to really tell them if they're at additional risk or not in the same way that adults are.
At one point, the president getting angry at NBC White House reporter Peter Alexander.
What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter.
Vice President later answered the same question this way.
I would say do not be afraid, be vigilant.
The president was also asked about several senators who apparently sold millions in stock. Some were briefed on the virus in the weeks before the market fell. Stock sales by Republican Burr of North Carolina and Democrat Feinstein of California raising eyebrows. The president says he doesn't know specifics, only that the senators are, quote, very honorable people. In the newsroom, Jonathan Dienst, News 4.
All right, some big stories and big news breaking today. Thank you, John. Let's talk about the situation on Wall Street. Yes, capping off a volatile week of trading. Take a live look at the Dow. You can see here it's down 913 points. Stocks tried to rally near the open. You see the green there. But the Dow did close down today, down to 19,000 points.
Well, 2 states are already taking extraordinary measures to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Illinois' governor is expected to announce a statewide stay-at-home order sometime today, and that would go into effect tomorrow. It would stay in effect until the disaster proclamation ends. This all comes less than 24 hours after we told you about California's governor issuing a similar order directing the state's nearly 40 million residents to stay home.
And close to our home, Brooklyn just opened its first drive-through testing site on Coney Island today. It's on West 19th Street across from MCU Park. To get a test, you must be experiencing symptoms, be 50 years old or older, 50 years or older, or have a compromised immune system. You also have to have a car. That's a requirement some people we spoke with today learned only after they had already showed up.
You need a car, and not everybody has a car. And I have a compromised immune. I came here, I seen you guys this morning. I came so I could get tested, and they said, oh, you got to go to the hospital. But then again, they tell you to stay away from the hospital.
All right, so a little bit of confusion there today. Coronavirus testing is available at Coney Island Hospital. We understand a third location is going to open up next week. Now to Connecticut, where there's a new drive-through facility up and running in Stamford. News 4's Ken Buffa joining us live there. Ken, before we talk about that, sadly, we just learned from Governor Lamont about the state's 4th death related to coronavirus.
That's right. The cases here in the state are climbing, and Governor Lamont just ordered a new executive order. It's called Stay Safe, Stay at Home. Take a listen. Here's the reason why.
We have to announce we have another 35 infections, 194 total, 40 in the hospital. We are testing close to 1,000 people a day now.
Cummings Beach, now a testing site for novel coronavirus.
We want everyone tested, and this virus doesn't really care whether you're rich or poor. It doesn't care if you're the CEO or you used to work in a restaurant as a waitstaff. We want everyone tested to protect everyone for themselves and protect the community at large.
The city wants to test 400 people across 4 locations. Health officials scrambling to slow the spread.
Our goal is to test, to treat,
to isolate and to trace.
In Norwalk, many businesses are already closed by state mandate. That includes the Goldfish Swim School. The staff turning to social media to reach kids no longer splashing in their pools.
We feel you, we're with you. We miss the children and our families tremendously.
And coming soon, another mandate. Hair salons, nail salons, barbershops, and tattoo parlors are being forced to shut down by tomorrow at 8 p.m. John Coppola owns Full Throttle Tattoo Parlor in Stamford. He knew his line of business would soon see a change.
This isn't happening for no reason.
While the state tightens its grip, businesses and officials are following orders to help stop the spread of coronavirus.
A lot of people ask me, will I be willing to come work at their house, so on and so forth. The answer is no. Trying to abide by the CDC guidelines.
Now the testing continues to grow here right behind me. This is the 4th facility in the city, and the mayor says he has plans for one more. It would be adjacent to this parking lot here at Cummings Park. That's later here in Stamford. Ken Buffa, News 4 New York.
All right, Ken, thank you very much. Look, it was sunny. 70 degrees today. Normally we'd be out and about enjoying the sunshine, but these are not normal times.
Yeah, our cameras did spot some folks out in Central Park today, committed to the social distancing though, right, Ray?
That's right, Natalie and Stefan. And you know, in the last few hours, it's gotten nicer, so we've seen an uptick in people. But a lot of folks are doing exactly what the governor has been preaching. They're doing activities on their own. We haven't seen a lot of groups congregating. And again, that's what the governor is asking for from people here in New York.
It may look and sound like spring has sprung. But at normally busy Central Park, the new normal is social distance. The only large group huddled together, the pigeons.
We're in a age group that is considered to be at risk, but we need to get out of the house because we go stir crazy.
The lawners trying to enjoy the spring-like temperatures, but also taking the governor's orders seriously.
I'm very, very concerned. We have 9 grandchildren, and one of our grandchildren lives in Battery Park City, and their building just said that there was a virus in the building.
Walking not far behind them, another couple, younger and a bit less concerned college students on a stroll.
We're not really in the demographic that's affected, and we're trying to stay away from our parents, stay away from people who could be.
CDC data shows COVID-19 hospitalizations for young people look a lot like they do for older people. This CDC bar graph shows people between 20 and 64 are being hospitalized at a rate not far behind people 65 and over. In a briefing today, Governor Andrew Cuomo had a stern message to young folks who think they're immune from getting too sick with COVID-19.
I can't get it. Yeah, that's wrong. That is wrong. Well, young people can't get it. That is wrong. It's just not a factual statement.
For now, both couples, while on different sides of the spectrum when it comes to concern, can agree on social distancing in the park and in the city.
We were just going to walk in the park, grab some food to go, and probably just head back to mine.
Yeah.
Take it easy, watch some movies.
And as you take a live look, folks running, folks on their bikes individually. That's what the governor is urging folks to do. If you find yourself out and about, he wants you to exercise that social distance of 6 feet. Stay away from doing things like playing basketball together or laying out in the park together. We're live in Central Park this afternoon. I'm Ray Vieda, News 4 New York.